So this video is more about this other board because I've had someone ask me about the freeze, Kevin I think it was, where I put that in my signal chain, or the Game Changer Plus, which is like a same thing as a freeze with a few extra controls, but the other good thing about it is it's silent. So like on a jazz gig, which is what I do quite a bit of, this thing doesn't make that clicking noise. I mean, there's a video where G-Lad Hexelman talks about changing out that switch, but I don't think I'm very good with a soldering iron, and also compared to G-Lad I'm not very good at guitar, so it's good. So I put this little board together yesterday. The idea of this board is that it's something kind of small that I can take to gigs. Previously it's had an EHX stomp and that on it, and then I'd switch in whatever pedal I might want at the start. Oftentimes it would be a tone workstation or a revival drive compact, usually a gain pedal of some sort, and also I'd take out an expression pedal with that. I would have been doing that. The idea of this bigger board is that this is kind of more fun and experimental. Got the Boss MS3 here, which is working sort of like a looper, so I can just switch between presets. And then this whole thing generally will go into an amp if I'm gigging with this, or it would have gone into an EHX stomp. Until now it's been very difficult to power that, but I've just got the Zuma, which is kind of cool, and because it's got so many 500 milliamp outs, I can now gig that a lot more easily on various boards. The other power supply that I've got is Harley Benton. I'll show it on the screen, I guess. That's got two 500 outs, which is also pretty useful and quite cheap. So if you're not wanting to spend quite as much as, or you're not going to need as many 500 milliamp outs as that, then that might be a good way to go. Anyway, what am I talking about? So I just wanted to plug in some of this. The Zuma is slightly larger than the Harley Benton power supply that I was using, so that's going to take, I'm going to have to figure out a way to actually fit that under the board sensibly. Get rid of those cable ties. Maybe we should just do that now. So in terms of routing, our guitar goes into this buffer, it then goes into the Cali 76 stack compressor, then goes into the Boss MS3. From the Boss MS3 I can have 3 drives or whatever in loops. Generally I use it for drives. So I've got the Veteran in loop 1, and at the moment I've got the Wazercraft in loop 2, because I just did a video where I experimented with those two through the Mezzo Electron. As I say, I sometimes use other pedals with the board, like the Tone Workstation or Revival Drive, or I've got a Heavy Water over there, Thorpe pedal. Anyway, what am I saying? So then out of there I go into the freeze. So the reason that I put my freeze post all of that is because I don't want to boost the signal of the freeze with the drive. Same reason that I would put delays post and all that sort of stuff. So, because I use quite a lot of drive and gain, I don't want the freeze to be boosted, because it, again, same as with delay and reverb, it kind of makes things muddy. So that's why I put that there. However, when I'm using the Gain Change Plus, I use that slightly differently, so I kind of use that as a pad, I guess, which I'm happy to put in the front of this because I'm using it in the jazz context without gain, if that makes sense. So yeah, that's where I put the freeze. I put it post everything except for the looper, because often I like to use the freeze with the looper. So now I've got everything plugged in. I'm going into my Mezzo Mark 525. So part of the thinking with the MS3 is that if I've got an amp without reverb, which I don't anymore, but it might be plugged into one backline or whatever, is that I can get delays and reverbs and stuff from here if needed. Now what I will probably experiment with at some point is either putting the volante on this board as well, or, although there's not going to be room for it, is there? But putting the delays post and in the effects loop of the boogie, because as we know, obviously the boogie's got a lovely drive channel, so I probably won't be using that. Yeah, so that's something to think about. I generally run everything in manual mode. So that's a fuzz pedal, by the way, doing that. Yeah, so that's loop, and then I've got a wazzer here, which I've not turned on. And 4 is a delay. And you'll notice that the delay is post my drives, my gain section, although it is going into the front of the amp, which is technically another gain section in it. Anyway, so how do I use the freeze? This is basically what I do with it. It's a bit difficult with just my hands. So as I was saying, because I've got it post drive, I'm not getting volume jumps. However, I can show you, I can switch the channel on the amp, because we're all going straight into the front of an amp. This is why I wouldn't use the freeze in the front of an amp. So every time if I was using that, I'd be switching to my lead channel and I'd get a massive increase in the amount of noise. I use the freeze. And also the MS3.